rain we're having right now. You see how much it's pouring. This is really awesome because we don't get a lot of rain here in California, especially not in the San Joaquin Valley, or the Central Valley, some people call it. But here we are, rain, rain, rain. Just love it. Please like and subscribe on whichever side it's on. Hi, this is Janice Seagraves. Thank you for joining me. I'm trying to do this standing up this time. I have my new camera, I have my new light, and I of course have my bookcases behind me. Thank you for joining me, and this time I'm talking about things that I wish I had known before I started writing. First of all, you need to finish your story. You can't just jump into it without a finished story. Finish your story first. And don't call it a book. It's not a book yet. You have to finish it, and you've got to polish it, and before it's finished, it's called a WIP, or a work in progress. Nifty, huh? We got a lot of these slang words in the industry, and you need to learn them all. When you finish your story, then it's a manuscript, or we also call it an MS. If you have your manuscript edited and polished until it shines, crafted the perfect query letter and blurb and synopsis, and send it off to a publisher and an editor for them to read it, and if they're in the right mood and want to buy your book and they send you a contract, it's still a manuscript. And but then you go through the edits. And sometimes it takes time to get to the point where you're doing the edits. Go through the edits, and there might be like up to 3 rounds of edits, sometimes more. And finally, once you've done all that, it's gone through the proofers, it's sent, and it's published, then it's a book. It might be an ebook, but it's still a book. Okay, still with me? Great. Here's the next thing, and it's hard to hear, but don't show your work to anybody. This is because if it's not finished yet, or it's not, you haven't done a round of revisions yet, you might not have developed your voice yet. You really don't want anybody seeing it yet because they might say something discouraging to you. And you don't want to be discouraged this early in the program. Let's save that for later, when you have to develop the all-important thick skin. Okay, but you have time, right? Okay. I don't mean to discourage anyone, but it took me 10 years before, and this is writing toward publication, before I was a published author. But I was going to be 10 years older anyway, right? And it might take you a shorter period of time. If it does, it does. It takes as long as it takes. And here's something that you're going to have to do to help you develop your voice and your storytelling ability, which will turn you into a writer. And by the way, if you write a blog, you are a writer. First, take some classes. Now, I'm not saying go back to college, so hear me out. You can take online workshops. And what the nice thing about online workshops is they're very intensive, and they can be about what you need to study for or what you need to improve. It can be about editing, it can be about plotting, it could be about developing your voice, it could be about developing your characters, it could be about writing the bad guy, it can be about, well, anything you need to know or need to develop, you can find in the workshop, which is really cool. Now, when I first started out, I found Romance Divas, and they're free to join, and they had some free workshops, and I started taking those classes. Then I found Savvy Writer. They also have workshops, but you have to pay for them, and they're a little more intensive, so that's good. But you can join for free, but they also have the one that you pay for, And the one that you pay for will knock down the price of the workshops, which is good. And then there's also Coffee Time Romance and More, and they have some workshops, and you can join them. And all of this will help. It'll help you build connections. It'll help you learn more about the industry, and it'll learn more about the publishing and how to promote your book once it's here. What happened to me was I joined some Yahoo groups. This was a few years ago, so I don't know if they're as good as they were, but they were invaluable to me. I also found a mentor, and finding a mentor can be very, very helpful. There's a lot of the Yahoo groups now are mostly promo driven, which is they're advertising their book, but you can keep searching until you find just the right one that will help you, and it is well worth the search. There's also websites you can find that will really help you. So, make sure that you look for those, and blogs. There's some really good writers that will post helpful advice for free. So seek those out and study them, read what they write. I think Jim Butcher does some kind of a class, and you can look him up. If you want help with your editing of your book, you can take an editing workshop. I also am a member of 2 critique groups. One of them is called Rose's Critique Group, and the other one is called Romance Critique Group. They're both looking for new members, so please check them out. You also just have to decide on what genre you're going to write. And there are many to choose from. You can go with science contemporary, which is like set in the nowadays, science fiction, which looks forward, fantasy, which looks backward, and historical also looks backward, paranormal, which could be set in right now, in today, and these it can all be subgenres of romance if that's what you're interested in. And once you find out what genre you're interested in, read everything you can. Read all these stories that you can, every book you can find, and really get it firmly in your head what this genre is that you're interested in writing. If you decide to write romance, you have to put the happily ever after ending in it. We also call that the HEA. And if you don't do that, at least the happily for now ending, or the HFN. Future can go smash bang, but these people are going to want their happily ever after, and as a writer, you need to give it to them. You need to study which publisher you want to sell your work to, and get the SESA. I don't think it's SESA anymore, but the guidelines of how to submit your work. Make sure you have the right font, the right size, exactly how they want it laid out before you submit. And it's very important that you submit what they're looking for, because if you send something they're not looking for, they're going to reject it. And rejection stings, so we don't want that. And you're going to have to get used to that in the industry. That helps you develop that all-important thick skin. If you want to write well, make every word count. After all, Hemingway didn't do it overnight. Neither did Stephen King, Annie McCafferty, Andrea Norton, Laura K. Hamilton, Jim Butcher, or Kim Harrison, or me. But to be successful, you'll have to read a lot, you'll have to write a lot, be dedicated to your craft, and have a lot of luck. After all, these people did not do this overnight, but they all had one thing in common. They're once an unknown like you. Good luck, and keep writing. Good night. Oh, and please, before you go, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Man. Love, love, love it.